Hello, my name is Alison. This year, on Anzac Day 2020, I was to provide the Anzac Day address at the Mologa War Memorial in northern Victoria. 100 years before, in 1920, my granddad and my great-grandmother had unveiled that war memorial. On it are the names of my grandfather, his 4 brothers and their mates. Now this year, in 2020, we are not able to gather around our war memorials because of the dangers of the COVID-19 virus. But I would like to share with you some of the address I would have given on that day and also at the local schools in the days before. I hope on Anzac Day you can find a way to commemorate all those Australians who have sacrificed so much to provide us with the freedoms that we have today and to keep us safe. Also remember all those people who are helping us right now in our current crisis, the health professionals, the doctors, the nurses, all those people who are providing us with the goods that we need in very, very difficult circumstances, and also those people who are having to make some very, very hard decisions. Take care, stay well, and I look forward to commemorating with you around our war memorials again in 2021.
Over a century has passed since the outbreak of World War I, a war in which millions of people suffered and died. It is almost impossible for us today to imagine how it was to live through, to endure it. 1 in 5 young Australian men who enlisted never came home. In the small Victorian community of Mologa, there were 22 young men who were farewelled, and 10 were never to return. By and large, they were neighbours and they were mates. 5 of these 22 young men who enlisted were the Marlowe brothers. George, at the age of 23, was the first to leave. He trained in Egypt and anxiously waited for his opportunity to fight at Gallipoli. It was not to be. Instead, in March 1916, he found himself on the western front of France and Belgium. As George was entering the trenches, his younger twin brothers, Alan and Percy, were enlisting together. They were 20 years old. Soon after, Charlie was also accepted. Before he sailed, he married his girlfriend Pearl. He would not have known that his young wife was pregnant when he said farewell. Albert, the youngest, had earlier tried to enlist but was rejected. He was underage and was sent home to Mologa. Once he turned 18, he convinced his parents to sign the necessary form. He was the 5th son to become a soldier. In July 1917, Albert was the first brother to lose his life. He had been on the Western Front just 2 months. 3 months later, George was wounded. He died the following day. He is buried in a cemetery outside the city of Ypres in Belgium, along with 10,000 other soldiers. Nearby is the resting place of 2nd Lieutenant William Seabrook. He was the 3rd of the Seabrook brothers to die within 24 hours. William's siblings have no known grave. They were lost to the fields of Flanders. In the early hours of April 26, 1918, not far from a French village called Villers-Bretonneux, Charlie was making his way along the trenches to deliver breakfast to his mates when he was killed. He was never to hold his daughter either. Corporal Percy Marlowe and Lieutenant Alan Marlowe, twin brothers, survived the Great War and made it home. Alan was my granddad. Families across the world suffered unimaginable grief during World War I. Sons went to war, daughters went to nurse them. The Marlowes and their mates sacrificed their lives for king and country with a sense of duty. Yet Australians were different. They were volunteers who were known for their sense of humour. They believed in a fair go. They were resourceful and tough. They were courageous and fiercely loyal. They were prepared to give their lives for their mates. Today, the world is experiencing an upheaval, not one brought by war, but one that has caused fear, impacted our freedom and changed our way of life. These changes will pass and we will recover. Australia is a country that is strong and prosperous. We work together and we help each other. This is not by chance. The ideals and characteristics of the people who have come before us became the foundation of our nation's identity, its pride and its success. We have much for which to be thankful. Those who served in World War I and those who have served since in the defence of our way of life deserve our gratitude and our deepest respect. While we are unable to gather around our war memorials on Anzac Day 2020, please find a way to commemorate. Participate in the RSL's Light Up Our Dawn, or find out about your family and their service to Australia. Ask Mum and Dad or phone your grandparents. In doing so, you will honour not only the sacrifices that were made, but you may find that you have someone special to eternally remember. We are the custodians of the Anzac spirit, and it is our duty to never forget.